court.
This is Life with Lisa Lang, Sundays at 10 on CNN.
New tonight, Joe Biden on the attack. The former vice president saying Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi was killed despite the president's, quote, ineptitude as commander-in-chief, not even giving him the credit of taking down this terrorist. And it comes after this insult Biden lobbed at Trump.
President Trump says Russian interference is a hoax.
He's an idiot on terms of saying that. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows it. Nobody doubts it.
Out front now, Scott Jennings, a former senior advisor to Senator Mitch McConnell and former mayor of Philadelphia, Michael Nutter, who is a Joe Biden supporter. Mayor Nutter, look, and we're going to hear more and more of this. This appears to be a new, more aggressive Joe Biden.
Yeah, I would say so. I think we're at a point where after weeks, if not months, of very aggressive Donald Trump, whether against Vice President Biden or against his family and just about everything else. I mean, he's called the Vice President everything but a child of God. I think the Vice President has decided that the only way to deal with a schoolyard bully is to fight fire with fire. And so the thing about it, Aaron, I mean, it's not like what Vice President Biden said is not true. 16 different federal intelligence agencies unanimously agreed that Russia did, in fact, interfere with the 2016 presidential election to harm Hillary Clinton and to benefit Donald Trump. That is a fact that Donald Trump refuses to recognize. So on that point, narrowly, the Vice President said, on that issue, he's an idiot. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I only point out, obviously, when the president uses words like that, people are quick to call him unpresidential. Obviously, Joe Biden is not the president, and perhaps there are different standards, which, look, is a point that gets...
And Donald Trump has said worse.
Well, that is true, and I'm sure Scott will acknowledge that. However, Scott, Biden also fought back when asked if he had a message for Trump, and I wanted to play how he continued.
President Trump has said publicly Joe Biden and his son are stone cold corrupt. And chances are he's watching this interview. Anything you want to say to him?
Yeah, Mr. President, release your tax returns. Let's see how straight you are, okay, old buddy? I put out 21 years of mine. So show us your tax returns, bud. Well, what are you hiding? You want to deal with corruption? Start to act like it. Release your tax returns or shut up.
Scott, will that work? I mean, just in terms of the tone with voters. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sure. Well, look, I think it's who Biden is. This isn't really all that new. I mean, several times during this campaign, Joe Biden has said things like he wants to punch Donald Trump. He wants to beat him up, behind the schoolyard because he's a bully, and that's how you treat bullies. So I don't know that this is all that new.
Well, that's what he said last time around, and now it's interesting. He's gotten more, at least he was trying to play the statesman-like part. I'm not going to stoop to this, right? But this is at least in tone over the past couple months, different.
Sure. Well, and it's a far cry from his launch video. The video that the Biden campaign put out to launch the campaign was sort of the high-minded video that, that's who he was trying to be. Now he's acting like who he really is, calling people idiots. And, look, Donald Trump engages in this kind of rhetoric as well. On this particular issue, though, I wonder if people are wondering, who's the idiot? The person who has quibbles with the intelligence report, or the person who was the vice president of the United States when the Russians actually meddled in our democracy? I agree with the mayor. Everybody agrees that they did it, but let me finish the thought. They did it on Joe Biden's watch. So who's the idiot here?
So this is the kind of talk that's going to happen, Mayor. This is what this opens. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, I appreciate that. Having sat in a seat, and you've sat in a few as well, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on what exactly was the federal government going to do in the middle of an election while that activity was taking place. I'm sure you all would then be crying that President Obama and his administration, Vice President Biden, were trying to interfere in the election. The fact of the matter is that Donald Trump, as a candidate, asked and encouraged, it's on tape, Russia to go after Hillary Clinton. He did it again with the Ukraine president call. So that's his MO. The vice president is absolutely correct. On this issue, Donald Trump refuses to recognize that Russia did interfere with the 2016 election. That's a fact. You can't dispute that, and you should just acknowledge that.
So here's the thing about it, though.
Because that's what we're
Obviously,
talking
the
about
more
here. And he
discussion
is an idiot.
that happens over who's an idiot over what, obviously is not a discussion I would imagine either one of you really want to have or anybody wants to have. But and the reason I bring that up is because Trump's a tough guy to take on, okay? Because he will be nastier and dirtier than anybody else, Scott. That's the fact, right? If you're going to punch the guy, he's going to come back and call you 50 horrific names that nobody would repeat. And the truth of it is that people who run against him, who have decided to stop taking the high road and go down into the gutter, here are a few of them, and here's what they've said.
Donald, you're a sniveling coward, and leave Heidi the hell alone.
You know what they say about men with small hands? You can't trust them. You can't trust them.
I got to get this off my chest. Donald Trump is a jerk. You cannot insult your way to the presidency.
They all lost. They all lost. And they all tried before they did that to not get into the mud. What do you say, Scott? Is Biden at that risk, or is Biden going to actually play this better than anybody else?
Yeah, I'm just taking my partisan hat off and putting my analyst hat on. I wouldn't advise this strategy. Presidential campaigns are oftentimes reactions to the previous. And the reaction to the previous campaign would be to take the high road here, to try to be high-minded, to try to be optimistic, to try to be who Joe Biden claimed he was going to be when he launched his campaign. He's now taken a different path, I suspect because he's losing standing in the Democratic primary. So my advice would be going down this road has never worked out for another candidate. It's not going to work out for Joe Biden. I don't think this is the rhetoric that's going to beat Trump. It'll be something different, something more optimistic about the future.
All right, thank you both very much.
Well,
and
I think,
next,
Scott,
sorry,
you gotta just recognize Joe
I
Biden
gotta
can do
go.
more than one
Sorry.
at a time.
President Trump preparing to release images from the raid that killed al-Baghdadi, images that